Chattanooga.
Hello, Chattanooga.
Hey, Footnotes, ministry of Cornerstone Apostolic Church. Welcome all of you into our studio. Thank you for letting us come into your proximity, your car, your office, wherever you are. Thank you so much. It's always a treat and a joy to be able to share some time with you guys. Basically, it's a ministry of Cornerstone Apostolic Church in Chattanooga. We take some time midweek to relook at the Sunday message that was preached. My name is Raymond Sloan.
I'm Sam Hodem. It's so good to have you here with us today.
So glad you're with us. Blessing just to have you with us. So we're going to get right into it. Dan Gibson preached this past Sunday, did a fabulous job. He is taking care of all of the month of February's Sundays and Wednesdays. So if you have not yet gone and watched that message, I challenge you to do so. And then the Wednesday night sessions, very, very well done. You will enjoy it, I am sure. QR code that popped up at the front, it'll come back at the end. You can get a lot of information about what's going on at CAC, and we invite you to connect with us. So, Sam, title of Sunday's message.
If I'd only written it down.
Oh, it's in
I'd got details.
Details. His whole topic for the month is the year theme. We are talking tabernacle, Old Testament stuff, trying to get a better understanding as a church. So his point of reference for this month of February is, what do you bring into the house of God? What do you bring? And so the message for Sunday was details. Yeah. Super cool. Details, of course, I think a lot of us on that topic, man, we understand the details of things.
It's always interesting to find that one thing that someone loves the details in.
Yeah.
What's their eyes light up? Everyone's like, I hate the details. Well, and they don't, until you find that one thing, and then they're like, a seashell collector.
Right.
But they know every seashell known to mankind.
They can dissect a butterfly and understand all the little details of that. Yeah, that's very interesting. In your walk with God, Dan brings out, of course, how that God knows the details of our lives, knows the what-fors and the hows and the so forth. And I don't know, so many times, Sam, I think we forget that, don't we? We sometimes feel like that life is happening around us, or we're living life, and we're kind of thrown under the bus, or we're not in sync, or whatever it is, and we feel like that maybe God has forgotten us. But the truth is God knows the details of all of those things that you're going through, the road that you're walking, and not only does he know those, but he cares about them, and he knows how to work things into our daily life, in the details of our daily life. What are some of the details, Sam, that can get you sidetracked, if you will?
Oh, man. I mean, there's a million different things. Brother Gibson, he used the saying and the small foxes spoil the vine.
That was a great story.
And then he carried it a step further now, I'd never really thought of it this way. Big foxes, because they can reach the grapes, they steal the grapes.
Yeah.
But the little ones, they can't, and so they will actually kill the vine.
Chewing at the root system to pull it closer to the ground. How interesting. Now, the little foxes, the big foxes, those are two details that I think the better we understand, the better we're equipped then to make the choices that we make every day.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, it's not really going to be all big foxes or big choices. Just the little consistent daily things that you do for God, that you do for your family, that you do for yourself matter. Yeah. If there's 1,000 directions you can go with this. If you save $1 a day, how long would it take over the course of your life? Let interest compound, and every day you save $1. I mean, it wouldn't take too awfully long where you could have a whole pocket full of money.
Yeah.
That's a consistent thing of a simple dollar bill, for an example. But that detail multiplied can turn into an incredible amount of things.
Good or bad.
True.
Yeah.
Well, what are some bad things that we can get ourselves into in those details?
Just, well, oh Lord, bad things. Should I just like start talking about people? You know?
Just don't mention names. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. We can just in our life, we all do it. We all just kind of, some days we skip breakfast.
Okay.
Some days we skip coffee. Some days we, and that's a health related thing, or we don't exercise the way we need to because of life and those things. And health is the number one of devils in the details there.
Yeah.
And then if we use that parallel of, this and this and then this, and before I know it, I've eaten fast food 8 times this week. And
those details,
ugh,
they're going.
I'm feeling real gross.
Yeah, they're going to affect you.
So then spiritually, well,
the old saying: if you pray, good things happen. But what happens if you don't pray? Does that detail matter?
Yeah. It matters.
Yeah, because the truth is that if you're trying to make sound decisions, right choices about things in life, and you're trying to lead your children or a group of people, whatever, if you don't have a consistent walk with God, again, don't be confused. I'm not saying that you have to pray 10 hours a day, but if you'll be in the details, in the smallest items of, I put priority on those things, and those details will help me in the long run. It'll help me day in and day out to be able to serve the Lord. So much of what happens in our lives, Sam, we can get sideways really quick. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've done this, but I've become very upset and angry about situations in life, and the fact is that it was my fault. Mm-hmm. It was me. I'm the one who messed up, and here I am looking for a way to blame someone else for my fallacies.
That was all me.
Yeah. Well, those details matter. There's when you take on a big project, for an example, let's say remodeling a house, just for an example.
Yeah.
There are so many hard grunt things you have to do. Tearing out a wall. This is just an example. Tearing up a floor. Doesn't matter. Man, you can rip into it, tear it up, pull out this, pull out that, put back. But the fact remains, the backbone of what you're putting back in a remodel may or may not ever be seen. It'll be the subfloor. It'll be the 2x4s behind the wall, whatever. But there's what's called detail work that is going to go on top of or in addition to the grunt stuff.
Yeah.
The details is what makes that project look right. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of folk out there that don't need to be trimming houses or painting. They're really good, though, at putting up 2x4s and walls because the details are different. Neither one, if I may, eliminates the other, but the finesse, the details.
You've got to have the structure.
There you go.
But you can have a terrible looking structure.
Yeah, but you can bring on top of that good details.
You can.
And, it's been proven many, many times through history that you can have something super duper ugly that you put together, but then you put details and the fine items, a fine tuning of it, and it comes out and nobody can see the structure underneath.
That's true.
There in and of itself is an incredible lesson that we can learn. The foundation, the structure, as you called it. Do the details matter there?
Yeah, 100. If it's out, if your foundation's out, then nothing's in.
Wow, what a lesson to learn! And that detail matters.
It matters.
You can't simply say that you can put an extra coat of paint over it and that'll straighten it up.
You can put makeup on a pig,
but it's still
a pig.
Indeed. What's something else he talked about on Sunday?
He mentioned something. He said, God has a purpose behind everything he does.
Okay.
And I was thinking of it in the relation to this. If God has a purpose for everything he does, one, that's something we can take as assurance.
Right.
But then we should also model that. We should have a purpose.
Okay. Like what?
If we're going, we can be held accountable for every foolish word, every word. Mm-hmm. So we should have purpose behind our words. We should have purpose behind our day.
Yeah.
Nothing like getting up with a purpose.
Yeah, boy, it feels better. And going to bed with a purpose.
Going to bed, you sleep better.
You do. Your mind is clear.
Yeah, got a purpose. And spiritually, the way we talk, the way we walk, there is such a thing as we just don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that sounds like something Grandma would say.
Well, that is an old lesson to learn, indeed.
But we're just not that kind of people, and that's not a something to be derogatory to someone else. But we hold ourselves to a different standard, a different purpose.
Well, okay, you're on a track. I think. Let's get a little clarification. You mentioned held to a different standard. Mm-hmm. What is a standard?
It's a to break it down, right? It's what you use if you're laying that foundation. You've got to know the lay of the land.
Okay.
And that where you're going to build is what you're standardizing everything else by.
Okay. So it does matter.
It matters.
That detail matters.
Mm-hmm. If
you call it a standard, and of course we all understand that principle of standard. You know, your auto industry, they have to have standards. Your food industry has standards. They have to have a part that they begin.
And this standards is the bottom don't matter. Line. Go into the place that has the health rating of like 64.
Yeah,
tell me about it.
Indeed, you go into a restaurant and they've got their inspection on the wall and it says 71. You just kind of gently back out the door because you're not really sure. Point being is those details matter.
Yeah,
and in fact, they matter so much that God Himself, go with me, Old Testament, can we? God Himself, for the work of the tabernacle, God gave to Moses every single detail, materials, length, size, how to, what for. What they did not know how to do, God infused, if you will, lack of a better way to say, gave them wisdom to know how to work with gold, how to work with silver, the linens, the materials they used. God was so determined to give all the details. Why do those details matter?
He had a purpose.
He knew, man, if the men in that time didn't understand or didn't want to know the details of why God said make it out of gold and not silver, that piece or whatever, then human nature, by and large, we want to take the easy road. Path of least resistance.
Instead of gold, let's make it out of bronze. It's
cheaper. Or
Or
plastic.
plastic. Spray paint it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. Yeah. But to God, He knew that in the details, the specific things, He knew you've got to be able to build this tabernacle to transport it, to be able to put it back together, to be able to demonstrate to the rest of the world who you are, and you were God's people. Those details mattered. So that said, the structure has the details. The finished work has the details, if you will. All of that, though, represents part of our life in which we can honestly say, you know, the details, God already knows them. You can't surprise God. If He knows then the details, Sam, how much should we trust Him?
100%.
How do we do that?
Well, if we get self-critical, which we can, or we can get self-proud, there's that balance between shame and pride that we have to ride there. Yeah. And we have to look at Jesus was the only spotless lamb.
Okay, right.
Really and truly. And in contrast, we're not.
Right, true.
And so we can get just down on ourselves, man. There's just no hope for mankind.
No way, yeah.
It's just or we can just rely upon the grace and mercy of God and acknowledge, hey, God, I need you to, I laid that foundation. It's a little wonky.
And the beauty of that is, if I may, God is okay with us confessing that we're broke, that we're messed up, that we didn't do it right.
He's like AFS. Come in and straighten that foundation.
You just gave a plug. That's funny.
All rights reserved.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, the fact remains then, God has a way of working those details in all of life situations. What we have to learn is we have to learn to trust Him and to hope in that. Last thing before we go away, Dan brought out Ecclesiastes 3. Man, that's been preached and talked about in 100,000 ways, I'm sure. But the wise guy who wrote the Ecclesiastes, he basically, it's a book of wisdom. Everything has a season and a time. And we may not know the time to plant, the time to sow. We may not be detailed in the time to pick up stones, time to lay stone. We may not be really understanding of the time to mourn and a time to laugh. We may not understand it. Go to Ecclesiastes 3, read that. But the fact remains, all things have a season, which means every season of life has details. And God cares about that. And our hope needs to be in the promises that's in the Word of God, the promises that He's made to us. And we need to hold on to that. And everything that happens, we got to trust that the details, God's got those in His hand. And we simply hope and believe that as messed up as our world can be, as messed up as our lives can be, we put our hope in Him.
What's the children's song? He's got the whole world in his hands.
Let's not sing that. But yes, indeed. And the more we recognize that, the more confidence that we can have in the plan that Jesus has for our lives. It's a joy to know that God knows all of the details. He's not surprised by the things that you and I may have forgotten, but he's very well in control. Closing words, what you got?
I do believe that we all find ourselves in a spot.
Okay.
Some of us on a daily, some of us on a weekly, some of us every 5 years, every 10 years of just, oh, wait a minute, I don't have this.
Yeah.
I've never not been able to say, God, I really messed up.
Yeah, true.
I do not have this, and God not somehow or another come in and work it out.
Wow.
I don't get the details right every time.
True.
You don't get the details right every time.
Indeed,
but they matter.
They matter, yeah.
And acknowledging to God, hey, God, I need some help with these.
Yeah.
I believe that was the way service ended.
Indeed, on Sunday.
The altar call. It was a very humbling, a very, very sobering time of God.
I recognize that details matter to you, and I'm not really good at them. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Again, go to our website, cscchattanooga.org. Go on the sermons, they're archived there, and watch Sundays. All of them are out there for the last year or so. There's also some other teaching series and things that are there. We invite you to connect with CAC however you can. We also, you can go on there and put in a prayer request if you need something prayed over. We can help you with that. You can call, talk to someone. We can do Bible study. We have so many programs going. We would love for you to connect with CAC. Sam, thank you so much. It's always a joy to gather around the microphone and talk. At the end here, there's a QR code. Scan it with your phone. Until next time, God bless you all. Have a wonderful week in Jesus. Thanks a lot.